Well, it's been a minute. Hope everyone is doing well. I know Man United fans are. After we've just gone back to back. Carrick's Reds, Ruben Amorim, ciao for now, is all I'll say. Because we are back. Big win against City at Old Trafford. Was there. Absolute limbs. I was in upper Stretty and then when Bruno slides it into him, Mbeumo knocks it bottom bins, Stretty goes nuts. I turn round like celebrating with the geezers behind me, and then the fella behind him, 2 rows behind me, just goes like that, slaps me in the face. It's the cleanest slap I think I've ever heard, unfortunately on me. Looked at him, he's there like, yeah, and I'm like, fucking hell, mate. Like, anyway, carried on celebrating. You know, what can you do? Just fucking on one up against City at Old Trafford. Anyway, it's absolute cinema. And then to go and do what we did yesterday against Arsenal. Big stuff. So yeah, just want to open it with 20 United fans out there, up the fucking Reds, and 20 Bears out there, watch your back, because I think the next 6 sort of 8 weeks are going to be rather lucrative for the Bulls in town. And, you know, I've been subtly ball posting sort of past week or so. And I guess where this comes to, I think it was Wednesday night. And like, look, I'm going to jump back and forth through so many different sort of topics and thingy here. Sort of while I'm on my walk. But, you know, obviously having the babby, having time off for the first time in November, like, basically the first time I have been fully away from the tape for pretty much 5 years. You know, even when I've been on a quote-unquote break, I've still had a side eye on the tape. Like, holidays, retreats, you fucking name it, I still know what the price of corn was when I went to bed. Anyway, I said to myself, it was, I think, November the 4th, Tuesday night, market was just like tweaking out low. I was just like, do you know what, like, I need to fucking call it a day. I'm up at like 4 a.m. Babby's like 4 days overdue, and I'm like, I need to have a minute. Like, I need to actually just step away, because like, this ain't good space, you know, if I'm staring at the fucking screens until whatever time in the morning, and he's due anytime now. So I said, look, I'm going to like step away from screens for 2 weeks, not look at the market, and basically go teetotal from sort of all that sort of stimulation. Anyway, really tough spot, honestly, like, you know, yeah, so like chuffed and proud and like loved up with how things went, and the little man and my partner and everything between. But like, you know, not gonna lie, it was a bit of a dark spot in sort of the back end of Q4, just like juggling everything, you know, getting a whack by the market prior to sort of clocking off, and then like kind of losing myself a little bit. I had pretty good cyclical sort of bull market momentum for my personal self, as in like growth, you know, the strength, like building, and then, you know, kind of just got knocked back to square one a little bit, honestly. Like, had some tough moments in Q4, and just like, yeah, just had to like ground myself again. And I think, you know, albeit it was kind of on the right side of the market since coming back in December, right? It was like bullish kind of at 80 sort of 7k lows. You know, said we'd head higher. I thought we were going to get a one-hander. We never got it. We kind of rolled at 97. And then, you know, I identified the trap on the 15th of Jan, so I didn't get caught really on the downside. But like, there's one thing kind of like being broadly onside / not getting caught offside, and there's another thing like actually being in flow with the market, like intuitively. And they're very different things. They're mutually inclusive, like from a sort of systematic perspective. But then when you have that confluence or like that feeling within, where you can almost just like feel the heartbeat of the market. And I felt like I haven't, or I haven't been able to feel the heartbeat of the market since coming back until Wednesday. And it was like sort of later on in the evening, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday last week. And I was like, I caught myself, right? I think I posted a chart. I was just like, you know, bear flag this, bear flag that, onus is on bulls to get above 95. And I caught myself doing it. And I was just like, I'm almost in autopilot and like not fully conscious in the purest like sort of sense. Like, when I say conscious, I mean like present and really aware of like what it is that I'm doing. And like, I think I tweeted a few weeks back, like not long after the turn of the year, you know, my main goal this year is to be more present, to find that flow state, to find that real purest version of myself, you know, which then leads to outperformance in other areas in life. And, you know, I've been like, couldn't quite get it, just like not really grasping it, and not been super dialed in the gym, like, you know, unregular sleeping patterns, all of these different things which are fucking acceptable, like given I've just had a, you know, newborn baby, like I'm up throughout the nights, you know, you don't get consistent sort of sleeping routines, your habits are all over the shop. But like Wednesday last week, something changed, and I felt for the first time in a while more myself. And then I caught myself, like I just said, like, you know, oh, let's just go and sort of draw up a chart with the most identifiable bear flag. But the devil's always in the detail. The devil is always in the detail. So I was like, all right, let me just go and review the market sort of with a fresh lens, like remove all these biases that I'm carrying, remove all this sort of foggy, like, bullshit brain. Like, what is the market actually telling me? And I went through my process, you know, from a technical perspective, like high time frame momentum, my credit market systems, and then a bunch of positioning stuff, a bunch of on-chain stuff. And then I came to the conclusion, I'm like, and I was looking at this fractal and this analog weeks prior, and then it came back to me. I was up late and I was like, hold on a minute. Anyway, you know, I posted a few bits today. There's a bunch more stuff, but like, these are one of them spots where I'm glad I saw the light. Like, I'm glad I got out of some weird, like, messy, sort of foggy, clouded headspace where I was like, you know, posting obvious bear flags. Like, yip-de-doo, like, that's no good. Because we had a bull flag in March to April into May in 2024. How did that resolve? Well, we never went and made new highs. We had a 3-day imbalance, which then broke lower, but didn't truly break lower, deviated below the V, in which caused that imbalance. Similar to what we've just had there, we had a 3-day imbalance on corn, ripped up, deviated above the sort of 95k area, got back inside, and now we've come back in and we're about to print sort of the weekly setup. Same thing happened March through May 24. The credit market was doing the opposite thing, right? Credit spreads have been on a massive period of contraction alongside BTC being in a real bull trend, right? Spreads reached the local sort of extremity with regards to how far they've contracted, and then proceeded to start structurally widening over a period of multiple months. In that same period, like, corn never went and made new highs. Spreads continued to widen. It's a credit market saying liquidity and risk appetite is heading in the wrong direction. Right? We had the same thing recently, and like, you know, Rob Howell and Michael Howell and all the other sort of, even just your fucking M2 bros, like, M2's been up and to the right while corn's corrected hard. Well, what has been on the money with regards to sniffing this corn weakness out is the credit market, right? C spreads, as I posted, have been widening since pretty much the Bitcoin top, early October, right? And when did C's top? Spreads within the same week that corn put its low in, and have since been contracting, which is a bullish development for risk assets, specifically BTC and crypto, as it pertains to using that as a framework to understand liquidity and risk appetite in traditional markets. You know, the guys on Wall Street and the credit market are probably much smarter and have much better models to understand how money is flowing in the system than I can. But what I can do, I can model credit spreads, I can model how risk is being priced, which then contextualizes, you know, it does risk lie to the upside or the downside on corn. So anyway, like, came to the conclusion, I was like, hold on a minute, just be patient, let price come into these lows, come into this area, which I perceive as real value. Alongside that, you've got obviously the options market, skews massively elevated, people are pricing in sort of downside, out the money protection, or buying that with respect to people buying out the money calls. So there's a focus on downside protection, there's a lot of hedging in the market. You've had ETF flows sort of capitulating locally, at least. Big outflows past couple weeks. And the biggest cohort of sellers, right, let's not get it twisted, that have been hammering the sell side for the past don't know how many months, especially into the fucking top range, the long-term holders. You know, you heard that sort of phrase a lot over the past sort of Q4 into Q1, but well, that selling seems to have waned. Net, long-term holders are accumulating. The spending activity is dropping. Once again, another bullish development. So, you know, you've got a base being built here, and risk lies to the upside. Risk lies to the upside. Sol coming into higher time frame support, deviated below the lows set multiple weeks ago. Capitulation, nice volume spike. ETH, similar setup. Metals, just like silver's adding a fucking Ethereum market cap a day. All this takes is a subtle shift on the margin for things to get really interesting. And I think it's going to be obvious in probably 6 to 8 weeks' time. Like, the current setup, where the way I look at it, the easiest way to look at it, the current setup, right, for, let's just say majors and alts broadly, but let's just say majors for simplicity, right? If you was to be a net accumulator in these spots, given all of the context, or net distributor, and you used to do this 100 times over, Is it positive expected value to be an accumulator in this spot? Yes. I strongly agree that. Every bone in my body is telling me that. Every bone in my body is telling me, I felt it. I think it was Thursday night. I was like, my stomach feels interesting. Like, I only get this at high time frame swings. I'm like, feel centered again. Intuition's a wonderful thing. I felt, and do you know what's funny is when I play poker, I'm like, I say to my missus, I'm like, it's usually a good reflection of like how I'm feeling IRL is like how I play poker. My read, like my judgment, my impulsivity, all of these different things. And like I was reading people like a fucking book on Friday night. I was like, oh my God, I'm so back. It's been a tough couple of months, can't lie, but you've just got to navigate them. Them tough spots teach you the most about yourself, man. They teach you the most about yourself. So anyway, I'm back in the gym. I'm back training much better. You know, obviously we're still in the sauna. We're still getting in that freezing cold water every fucking day. Also known as the ice bath. We're in shorts, it's winter. We're keeping it moving. And we're long and strong. We're long and strong. So look, yeah, the bull case is pretty clearly invalidated, sub 80. I did say that earlier today. All core systems sort of pointing in the same direction, which is rare. And can potentially be rather lucrative. So yeah, that's where we're at. Need to think about how I'm gonna sort of record things moving forward, whether I do this stream, you know, whether I even do this, whether I do writing, I don't know, I don't fucking like writing, but we'll see. Like, I just need to find the right medium to just like, you know, get the message across without me having to write long form to like, you know, a big public audience that requires lots of fucking context and nitty gritty detail and, you know, answer 1,000 questions about this, that and the other. Like, it's too computationally expensive, and time-wise it's too expensive to like provide such granularity and context on like such a fast-moving market and so many different dynamics. I feel like this is probably the better way to provide context, so we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, ciao for now.